Imagine being skinned alive for stealing bread, or boiled slowly because someone claimed you looked at a noble the wrong way. Back then, punishment was theater, with blood as the main act. And now, you're about to sit in the front row. Just try not to get soaked. Scaphism. Ever wondered what it's like to rot while still alive? The Persians didn't just wonder. They engineered it. It was called scaphism. Here's how it worked. They'd take you, naked, terrified, and stuff you into hollowed-out log or canoe. Your arms, legs, and head stuck out. The rest, sealed in, trapped. Then came the milk and honey, gallons of it, poured down your throat until you were vomiting it back up. Then they'd smear the rest all over your body, sticky, sweet, a 5-star buffet for insects. And then they left you, under the sun, unable to move, covered in honey, filth, and your own diarrhea. The bugs came. First the flies, then the beetles, then the maggots. And they didn't just eat you. They crawled inside, laid eggs, turned your body into their new apartment. This went on for days, sometimes weeks. You didn't die quickly, you melted. But if you think this is bad, the next punishment is worse. The oubliette. The oubliette was a dungeon designed to forget you ever existed. Used in medieval France around the 14th century, the oubliette wasn't your average dungeon. It was worse. Picture a narrow vertical shaft, carved deep into stone, just wide enough to fit a person, barely. No stairs, no exit, no light. Prisoners were dropped in from a trapdoor above. That was it. No trial, no sentence, just silence. Total isolation. Some oubliettes left people to starve slowly in complete darkness. Others had spikes waiting at the bottom, so you'd either die instantly or lie impaled, still alive, for hours or days. And the name? Oubliette comes from the French word oublier. It means to forget. That was the point. Once you were in, no one came back. Not because they couldn't, but because they were never meant to. No guards, no visitors, no sound. Just you, the rats, and your thoughts, until death finally showed up. Horrified? Good. Because we're just getting started. Lingchi. What if dying wasn't the punishment, but the goal was to keep you alive for as long as possible? In Imperial China, for nearly 1,000 years, they perfected that idea. It was called Lingchi, death by 1,000 cuts. And it's exactly what it sounds like. This wasn't rage. This wasn't chaos. This was planned, surgical, legal. The executioner was trained to carve you apart without killing you too quickly. They started small, slices of the chest, thighs, shoulders. You bled, but not enough to die. Not yet. Then came the deeper cuts. Strips of flesh peeled away, fingers, ears, genitals, all removed with chilling precision. Some were drugged to stay conscious longer. Others weren't so lucky. It could last minutes or hours. And when you finally passed out or died from shock, your body was still fair game. Arms chopped, legs hacked, head removed. And this wasn't done in the dark. It was public, a spectacle. Families watched. Sometimes they paid to get a closer look. The goal? They wanted your soul to die in pieces. If you thought that was twisted, just wait. Hanged, drawn, and quartered. In medieval England, when the king thought you were a traitor, he didn't just kill you, he shattered you. This was the ultimate punishment for betrayal, and it came in stages. First, you're dragged through the streets, tied to a wooden frame. Filthy crowds jeer, spit, throw rotten meat. By the time you reach the scaffold, you're already halfway broken. Then you're hanged, but not to die. They'd let you choke, twitch, gasp, then cut you down while you're still alive. Next comes the knife. They slice open your stomach, pull out your intestines, and burn them right in front of you, alive, screaming, eyes wide open. Then they cut off your genitals, then your head, then your limbs. Finally, They'd take your body parts, dip them in tar, and mount them across the city, on gates, bridges, spikes, as a warning to everyone else. But if you think that's overkill, wait till you hear about this torture device. The Brazen Bull. This wasn't an execution. It was a twisted symphony of human suffering. In ancient Greece, around the 6th century BC, this punishment was invented by a tyrant, approved by a psychopath. The Brazen Bull was a full-sized metal statue, completely hollow on the inside, shaped like a bull, polished to shine. They'd shove the victim inside, lock the door behind them, then light a fire beneath it. The metal heated slowly, very slowly, and as it did, the person inside began to cook, from the legs up, skin blistered, lungs burned, flesh roasted. But here's where it gets evil. The bull was designed with an acoustic system, tubes and pipes that turned the victim's screams into the sound of an angry, bellowing bull. So the crowd didn't just hear pain, they heard music. This was theater, firelit, ironclad, pure sadism disguised as performance. And when the body was finally reduced to ash and bone, they'd open the hatch and dump it out, like taking out the trash. Next, we lock you in a box, light a fire beneath it. Rat torture. When they wanted information, they didn't threaten you. They fed you to rats, alive. Used in 17th century Europe, and later by regimes like Imperial China and even 20th century dictatorships, rat torture was simple and horrifyingly effective. They'd strap the victim down, flat on a table, chest heaving, helpless. Then they placed a metal bucket or clay pot on your bare stomach or chest. Inside, live rats. And then, they lit a fire on top of the container. Panicked by the heat, the rats had only one way to escape: downward, through you. They clawed, they bit, gnawed straight through skin, muscle, even intestines, trying to dig their way to freedom. You didn't pass out right away. You felt every movement, every scratch. Some died from shock, some from infection days later. But everyone screamed. This wasn't about execution. It was about fear, the kind that made men confess to anything just to make it stop. And if you think rats are bad, wait till you are broken, bone by bone. The breaking wheel. You didn't die quickly on the wheel. You watched it happen. Used across medieval Europe from the 9th century through the 18th, especially in France, Germany, and the Holy Roman Empire, the breaking wheel was saved for criminals they wanted to make an example of: murderers, traitors, heretics. The process was savage. The condemned was tied to a massive wooden wheel, arms and legs spread wide. Then came the iron bar, thick, heavy, cold. The executioner started swinging, smashing bones at every joint: arms, legs, hips, shoulders, crack, crack, crack. They didn't stop at breaking. They kept hitting until limbs turned to pulp beneath the skin. Some victims begged for the final blow. Others just screamed. Once the bones were shattered, their mangled limbs were threaded through the wheel's spokes, twisting the body into a broken, tangled shape. Then they raised the wheel upright, left you there on display. Crows circled, townspeople gawked, and you just hung there, waiting to die. Sometimes it took hours, sometimes days. Execution by pain, execution by display. And there you have it, history's greatest hits of pure human horror. Like, comment, and share. It's less painful than being drawn and quartered.